Hello all, welcome to the channel. This video is the part of the playlist C# programming, and we're gonna discuss from the basic to the advanced, everything in detail about the C# one by one in each step. And today I'm gonna discuss about the basic .NET framework introduction. What is the .NET framework? How is it? How the C# code run on the behind of it, and how the .NET framework work and support. We will also learn about the IDE, Integrated Development Environment for C#, and which tools we're gonna need. We will also see how we can install and download and install that tool into the Windows or MacBook as well, or the Linux, and we will see everything right after this. So first of all, we have to learn about basic understanding we should have about the .NET Framework architecture before we start writing any program into the system. And the whole architecture is basically based on the three categories. So the first one is the language that we wrote while creating the Windows form or writing the code for ASP.NET for the website, or using the database technology for ADO.NET, or any language or anything that we are gonna write in the C#. It's gonna be in the section of language. Then we gonna use the libraries. The libraries are the predefined classes called the standard class library of the .NET framework, and the Microsoft provide the huge collection of methods and functions that can be used for the core purpose. And I will show you and explain more about the standard system libraries, or the namespace with the Microsoft, with all the references. And it is basically the predefined libraries provided by the Microsoft to utilize their functions, the core functions, into your own application, to develop something new from your side. The third and most important thing is the common language runtime, and this is basically, let's say, the heart of whole component of the programming in the C#. And it's a stand for the common language runtime, or the common language infrastructure. And it basically common language runtime, it's having CLI. The infrastructure is the platform in the .NET technology or the architecture, so which when you execute a program into the system, then it provide the error handling, or correcting the exception, checking the exception, doing the garbage collection for that. So it means if you're defining them so many variables, and so many memories consumed by your program that you just developed, then it will removing the unwanted resources to free up your RAM, so that your program can be executed faster, and it's not gonna be you're gonna not see the Stack Overflow error. I will discuss that as well in the future videos as well. Then there will be the find handling, and then the database connection. If there is something, then we can, if like there is some database connection that exists but we are not using it, then is the work of garbage collector to remove that as well, right? And the whole compiler is basically the common language interpreter is basically is divided into the three things, like as I saw, like the language. And it is basically the first level is the programming language itself, and most common would be the C# or the .NET, the VB.NET. Then the compiler is which is separate for each programming languages, right? So if you write the program for the C#, then there will be a C# compiler. If you're writing the program for the VB.NET, then there will be a VB.NET compiler. And the third one would be the common language interpreter, and this is basically the last and bottom layer of the whole program, and in which it will be used to run a .NET program developed in one of the programming language. To subsequent, the compiler will send the program to CLI, and it will execute the code into the system. Right, so that's how the whole .NET framework work. The .NET framework is basically the base of all the whole infrastructure of the C Sharp, and Microsoft is keep updating that .NET framework. Right now, it's .NET 4. Of .NET Framework 4.8, which is right now, but there is also, we are expecting .NET Framework 5.0, or it's already there. So it's keep supporting these programming languages, which is good for us. Basically, the whole idea was developed with the Microsoft, and using that we can develop most of the form-based application for the Windows. We can make the base applications like and the web service, web API, the web connector, webhook, and console application for the Xbox, mobile game, iOS, Android, mobile development, and so much more with the C Sharp, and we will see everything for sure. So if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe for the stay tuned for the new videos. And now we're gonna talk about the installation and how we can install and which tools we're gonna need. So I will preferably be using the Windows, but if you are using the Mac OS or the Linux, then for the Linux there is a Mono application called Mono. Mono is an open source version of .NET Framework, which include a C# compiler and run on the several operating system, right, including the Linux. And in the Mac OS, Microsoft has already released the version of the Visual Studio for Mac OS. So for downloading the component of the Visual Studio, you can simply visit this website and you can download one of them. I think the community version is the free, so it would be enough for you for now. And if you're using the Mac OS, then you can use this one for your Mac, and it's also support the .NET Framework libraries, and it's also basically used if you're using the iOS application games or the Androids, then you can use the Visual Studio for Mac as well. Right, so once you click on the download will be automatically starts, and you can save that setup into your system. You will see a pop-up icon. You can simply run this one in from here, and once you run, you will see a message of the Visual Studio installer, and then you can simply go to the continue. It will download into your system. I already have it, but we can go ahead and try to install them again. But I have a professional version of the Visual Studio, and right now we are trying to use the Visual Studio community for the download. We will discuss also the differences between the community and the professional as well in the upcoming videos. So don't worry about that. So once you once your Visual Studio installer added, then you can select the component that you're gonna need. So you can use the .NET Desktop for the basic application development. If you're using for the web development, then you can select this one, and basically you have the mobile development, and there is much more into the selection. If you have the different language packs, then you can select the different languages of the Visual Studio, and you can also select the .NET runtime to install it, and you can select all the component that you're gonna require, and you will hit the install, and it will install into your system after a few minutes, let's say, right? And once you install and you're gonna open, then you will see your Visual Studio, something like that. And once you create it, once you added the Visual Studio into your Windows or one of the operating system that you have, then you can open the Visual Studio, something like this, and you can go from the files to create the new projects into your system. And once you create the project, then you can give the proper name, right, for your application. So I'm going to use for right now the console application that we're going to check, and we will execute a simple program, and I will show you how it looks like into the system and how the code look like. I'm going to use the .NET 4.8. Once you hit the create button of the Visual Studio, then it will simply take a bit time, and it will generate some automatic files into your system. And what you can see right here is the program.cs. You can see all the files related to your project into this solution explorer. And basically we have the properties which include the assembly information, and this assembly is called the class libraries, and you can give the different properties of that assembly here, the word including the version and the file version. We will discuss more about that too. You can include the standard or the different reference DLL into your system as well. These are the standard references that already been added into the system when you create a project. The app config file we will see later, and then you will have a file called program.cs. This one is basically all the libraries you can include. You can include more library by using syntax, and once you type the system, then you will see the whole lot of new libraries, and you can add the different libraries into the project. Now this one is called the namespace, and the namespace is basically in the system is it is the declaration of the namespace, and it is the collection of the classes basically. So you can, inside one namespace, you can define the multiple classes, right? And after that namespace there would be the class name, and this is the, you don't have to think too much right now. I'm gonna explain everything in detail in the upcoming videos. We are just going through the syntax right now, and we're going to run a hello world program as well. Then this one is called the class syntax. Using the class syntax, you can define a class using name program, right? The program keyword, and then there is a main method. This is basically the standard method with the argument. When you write some code like this, it means you are defining the variables as a parameter for that particular function, and you can pass, when you're calling this main function, then you can pass your argument using this string. Now we're going to use the console, then the console.Readline. The Writeline, there is a two function, console.Write and console.Readline. The Writeline is always writing everything into the new line, and the write would be just writing everything next to each. So we're gonna just use the first right. Hello world, learn tech with Aditya. Right, and once you save this file, then if you have the big projects and you have to define the DLLs, you can rebuild your system, and you will see all the outputs in here, right? And once it say it's all succeeded, then you can run your system using the start button, right? And once you start, it will run the system, and you will see the output into the black console. But that black console couldn't hold for longer time, so for handling for showing that black window for the longer time, you have to write this line so that the console is expecting an input from the user, and you will see the output in here as the application, right? And that's how you can execute the hello world program into the Visual Studio. Basically the console.ReadKey or the read line is used to make the program wait for the user to press any key, and it prevent the screen from closing quickly when the program is launched into the Visual Studio, right? So there are some of the points that we have to keep in mind, is that when you write any code into the system, then all the keywords that you can see is the case sensitive, right? And it's expecting the semicolon at the end of every line, right? And there must be a semicolon. If you're going to remove the semicolon, then you're going to see an error right here, that the expected semicolon, right? And the program execution is start from the main method right here, right? And unlike Java or any other program, the program file name could be different from the class name, so that could be also possible. So that was the basic introduction of the Visual Studio, how you can download the Visual Studio, the basic introduction of the .NET framework, and how you can write your first code, the Hello World, into your system. And we're gonna see the new data types, the different data types in the C# and .NET in our upcoming video. So stay tuned, and till then, take care. Thank you.